We have plenty of updates today, so I'm gonna do my little intro as quick as possible today. We have a ton of feature releases to talk through, and so, like I say, I'm gonna get started. So, hello everyone, and welcome to today's town hall. It is November 13th. Where is the year going? So as always, we are recording today's session and we are live streaming. If you get disconnected at any point, you can head on over to our YouTube page. You can see the YouTube handle just there. So if you do get disconnected at any point, go there to watch live. Also, please give us a follow. Always appreciated. As always, we've got some company and product updates from ourselves, and then we're going to move into a Q&A from the audience, but a little about that later. If you do have any questions throughout the session, please do try and type your questions in the Q&A section at the bottom rather than in the chat. That just helps us keep track of everything there. And that's it from me, handing over to Pierre.
Yeah, thank you, Miles. As you said, we have a lot of updates to carry over in this particular town hall, and we're going to start with a big updates on our team. So introducing with our new engineer, Tinkara, which we announced last week as a doubling of the AI team. Tinkara, go ahead, introduce yourself.
Hello. So hi, everyone. My name is Tinkara, and I'm from Slovenia. So as mentioned, I'll be working with you on the AI team, or more accurately, I'll be doubling the AI team right after I finish my onboarding next week. So yeah, super excited to dive in and start shipping some cool projects. Fun fact about me is that I have a donkey named Bucha, which means pumpkin in Slovenia. So yeah, instead of walking a dog, I'm often out just walking my donkey.
To walk your donkey, which is adorable. Okay, that's not where it ends. Thank you, Tinkara. Next, we have a second product engineer that's joining us. Juran, where are you?
Yeah, hi everyone. Yeah, as Pierre mentioned, I'm Oran and I'm based in Pristina in Kosovo. I recently joined Hospitable as a product engineer, so I'm still going through the onboarding process. Fun fact about me, last week on the first day of my new job, I had an accidental booking on my apartment. So yeah, that was fun to deal with.
And that was a booking.com booking of all platforms, so that's fantastic to be having. I'm sure you followed the booking.com Q&A yesterday. Next, we have actually a third product engineer joining the team, Devon, out of Germany. Are you wearing the hoodie? Yes, you're wearing the hoodie. Everyone has to show it, but Devon basically didn't know yet to wear the hoodie just 5 seconds ago. So go ahead, who are you?
Yeah, Devon, I'm based in Berlin, Germany. I'm joining the core team as a software engineer or product engineer, and yeah, really enjoying to get started. Yeah, that's it.
Fun fact about you?
I have 3 passports. That's my fun fact.
Okay, that's actually a very good fun fact about you. So, and none of those are German. Okay,
No.
Alex, you wanted to show your face. Let's go. We actually have a fourth product engineer.
Yeah, and I have the hoodie on, so...
You have the hoodie on. Thank you for that.
Yeah, I'm Alex. I'm based in Romania, and I recently joined the team as a product engineer. I'll be focusing mostly on front end of all our apps. That means web, that means mobile, all of it. I've heard, yeah, we need some love in that area, so I'm here to help.
Yeah. Can you say again, you're working mobile? Are you going to work on a mobile application?
On the front end of our apps. That means mobile as well. Yes.
That means mobile. Yeah,
yes.
that's kind of, mobile is a front end for things. Okay, that's fantastic. So you guys are just getting started. This is not going to be the end. We're going to have more engineers that are going to be joining the team. And yes, it's a worldwide competition. We have the chance of being a completely remote and distributed business, and they're all getting paid the same wherever they're located across the world. Now, second big update on the team side, we are starting to roll out an onboarding team with Mario, Javier, Berenice, Ricardo, and Jose. And so they're going to be a part of a team that's going to help you get your account set up. This is something we're going to talk about probably in the next town hall, and basically explain to you a little bit more what that's all about. For now, if you're interested in learning more as a current customer that wants to get onboarded, or as a future customer that wants to get their account set up, you can reach out to Vera at hospitable.com. Vera is a sales manager, and she'll make sure that you guys have a slot for those onboarding and the orientation that we want to offer every new customer. She's sending a message just right now in the chat. We're going to talk about that, like I said, probably on next town hall. This one was the last edition. And so just one thing, where is the company at? Because we're adding like a lot of people, and I just wanted to share. So yeah, we have a limit on 100 people that we want to have cap here. However, it's a different number. That's a fully loaded people that are actually working as part of their day at Hospitable. And so we're reaching, at this point, 78 people working for Hospitable. And you can see CSS is what we call customer support and success, because we have announced that department this quarter. Customer support and success is still the leading department by headcount with 28 people. And engineering and product managers are catching up with 24 people. So that's going to be a big wave. It's going to take a bit of time to basically get them onboarded, and there's going to be more coming our way. We're only the same team on this one, and this is not ending. We're in the very last stages of recruitment for an accounting executive. I think we still have 1 or 2 more additional positions that we're looking for as a product engineer. So that's probably be for Q1 2025, but that's all good for us. We're also very excited about the senior product manager position. And I'm so sorry if you have applied for the product designer position. I'm the one being the hiring manager for that one. And that's really not great. I'm not showing the example, but yeah, I'm basically inviting regularly new shortlisted candidates for this one. Product designer, that's great. If you have actually a front-end team that's able to do those mobile designs that we're really looking forward to, that's even better. So that's it for me on the company updates. You have far more coming your way. And so maybe you're one of those few Airbnb hosts that have received an email from us today. Andrew is the one that is having a bit of a laugh about it because he's only been talking about that since July. But yeah, Andrew, is there anything new on connectivity front?
Yes. The light at the end of the tunnel. So yeah, I'm sure everyone's excited for me to stop talking about this migration that we've been doing. I will not belabor the point, but just to cover our last few points, because this is the final week of migrations, we are nearly done. We migrated 20,000 listings today. So please, if you haven't been checking your emails, some of you probably get a lot of emails from Hospitable. These are on the more important side. Please check your emails. We let you know when we migrated your account, what accounts got migrated, and any specialized instructions. So in particular, some of you have over 1,000 accounts. You maybe have another property management software connected to your account, but it's not managing your software. You really need to look at those if you can, please. So please check your email. This is a good time to review your connected accounts, your Airbnb listings. You're looking to see a PMS badge. If you don't have that, you should be aware of the consequences of not upgrading. If you still need to take action, you can upgrade at any time. You can downgrade at any time. That comes with consequences. We'll review those quickly. But that's the message for today is take a few minutes, check out your Airbnb connections. This is the final week of those migrations, and we're going to start seeing those consequences soon. So if you got upgraded, if you got migrated or you upgraded on your own time, what do you need to look at? Remember, all pricing and availability is now on Hospitable. We are your single source of truth. So if you were using Airbnb Smart Pricing, again, that got disabled when you upgraded your connection. If you are using dynamic pricing through a third party, that integration is connected to Hospitable, that is not impacted. You're all good. Check to make sure that your service fee did not change. If we did it as part of the migration, we would have updated that for you, but it's a good idea to check. Some hosts, mainly outside of North America, would have been upgraded to a host-only fee. You want to make sure that you're compensating that in your rates using Hospitable's markup rates so you don't have any surprises on your bookings there. If you are a co-host and you have co-hosted listings that were migrated or not migrated, it's a good opportunity to communicate with the other listing owners and co-hosts that are part of your account. If you got upgraded, they're going to see an impact as well because they won't be able to manage pricing and availability on Airbnb. They'll have to do that on Hospitable too. So please take a look. If you need more context for this, you can watch any of the past town halls. Check your emails or go to our help center and just search Airbnb new. You'll find the support article with lots of videos, all the content you need for all the full context. If you have not upgraded, some of you won't need to. It's not the recommended step. We are recommending nearly everyone to upgrade or get migrated. If you did not upgrade, It might be because you're already using another PMS. That's fine. Hospitable will not be your source of truth. You might only be using a single channel, Airbnb, and therefore you don't need us to act as a PMS. You don't need Hospitable to manage your availability because you don't have any other channels to sync to. That's fine. Again, you can upgrade at any time if you decide you want to use our calendar to manage your pricing and availabilities. And then some of you that had co-hosted listings that we were unable to upgrade or had difficulty upgrading, you in particular should take a minute to check out your connected accounts page and make sure you're aware of what's happening. Let's talk about the consequences. So again, very, very soon, you're going to start seeing that we'll be unable to update your availability. So this was a change that came from Airbnb. They told us we have to exclusively claim your listings to be able to continue updating pricing and availability. So if we don't do that for your account, you're on what's called the ops scope. We will have a restricted calendar now in Hospitable. We won't be able to protect you from double bookings. So that is a serious consequence. I hope everyone is aware, if you're not upgrading, that Hospitable is no longer doing that for you. That means for any connected channels of that account. So if you have listings you pull in from Airbnb, those are on other channels. We're not going to be able to do any pricing and availability syncs to those other channels. The assumption is that you're managing those elsewhere. That's what you've told us by not updating. So please pay attention to those. Otherwise, you're free to keep using Hospitable in a limited capacity. Just for the messaging or other features, those are not impacted by this change. And now that we're kind of coming out of this migration, it's good news. It frees up a lot of resources. There's been a lot of time, a lot of sweat, some tears poured into this. It helps us focus on some of the improvements now. So you would have seen that we were already able to consolidate a lot of the availability rules into Hospitable that used to be on Airbnb. Now we have them in Hospitable. We can share them on other channels. We can still make improvements there, expand the capabilities of those. On the pricing side, we'll be looking at how we can do more, particularly for our dynamic pricing integration, so we can have a more full-featured integration with those partners. Start looking at other content that we can sync. So fees on your pricing page, other listings content. We're going to continue to focus on how we can consolidate that information and really start to function more like a full-featured property management system that can save you time by doing a good job helping you do less and spend less time jumping into different extranets and Airbnb's backend when you can do more from Hospitable itself. So one of those features that is launching this week, very, very simple, but very, very necessary. You'll be able to set a base rate now in Hospitable. This should be live by the end of the week. You'll be able to enter your base nightly rate and your weekend nightly rate. This is for all of your calendar dates that are basically looking to a base rate or a default price. Anything that you update manually or through a dynamic pricing integration wouldn't be impacted on any changes here, but this will also impact like all of your availability window. Your rolling availability window will be based on these default rates until you change those later, again, by manual or dynamic pricing integration changes. So that's coming this week. Other channels, so yesterday, don't know what time zone you're in. It was last night for us. We had a webinar with our friends at Booking.com. We've been spending a lot of time with them. So that was one of the things we talked about is just, how much we're really working together to improve this integration and make it work for you guys. We spent lots of time traveling and meeting each other. I think yesterday we had, outside of the webinar, we had 3 different teams meeting with Booking.com teams during the day. So there's lots of changes coming here. They were able to share how much of their focus on the US market is starting to have an impact. A big push on their payments solution. You'll need to watch to get in more detail. So please go to our YouTube channel. The link is here as well. But talking about payments, and I think us really seeing that we have an opportunity there too, I think, to improve and offer a payment solution for Booking. So watch this space going forward. But they also, I think, very valuable content for anyone that's on Booking already or thinking about it, how to optimize your listings for performance. There were lots of tips given on that, and a full walkthrough that you can watch on YouTube now. So do check that out if you're interested in getting started or are already on Booking.com. I'll share one slide as a teaser content. So they shared some market data. So what you're looking at here is there's 4 columns representing 4 channels. This is not Hospitable direct. This is maybe lowercase d direct. But looking at how they're performing in their home market, so Booking.com in the second market, the red lines are for the Europe market, and the blue line is the United States, which is Booking's focus. And so you see a 60% growth in their market presence over just the last 3 years, 4 years in the US. So yeah, we're getting more excited about them as a channel. We had Anecdata from our Host and Toast tour, where some hosts would come up and tell us they were getting 30% of their bookings now on Booking.com. You have the World Cup to look forward to in 2026. That's in 16 cities in North America, played across an expanded like 108 games. So that's going to be a big deal. 5 weeks of outbound European travel into North America. Booking.com is the strongest channel in Europe. So great opportunity to start getting set up, getting your listings optimized, and get ready to see if you can benefit from that World Cup bump if you're in one of those 16 cities across North America. But yeah, lots of data in the presentation. Please check that out. So internally on our side, what we're working on, we recently launched the request to book. We've covered that in the last couple of town halls. So that now works within Hospitable. That's now available to all users. The next phase is we're getting pilot access to the latest update from Booking, which is the ability to message during that request to book window. So we'll be working on that very, very soon. We have new beta access to a charges endpoint. That's going to give us the kind of the remaining financial clarity we've been missing, whether or not fees were included or excluded with a rate. That's always been a bit of a mystery, but they have a brand new endpoint that's going to help us close the gap there. And then otherwise, the higher level story, the bigger push is to become a full listings management solution for you. So that would give us the capability to automate distribution. We're working with the latest endpoints from Booking.com. They've got all new APIs out that are all very, state of the art, modularized, and we're going to be one of the first partners to market with a lot of these. We're in pilots and beta access for all of these new endpoints. And then once we start managing your listings, it allows us to take a bit more of a stance in how we can help you optimize those listings and get as many bookings as possible and fill up those calendars. And last update on Agoda. So yeah, private pilot is now live. It's nice not to say coming soon anymore. So we've done a first batch already. A second batch has been invited today. So everyone that signed up for the private pilot and had at least one Agoda listing live, that is a requirement for the pilot. You should have gotten an email now. A lot of you booked. I saw, I think 5 new assisted onboarding calls were booked just this morning. So that's great. We're going to be basically learning from those, watching you, set up Agoda in Hospitable, learn what's still missing, and the goal is to get to a beta release and then general audience. But yeah, progress is happening there. It feels great to have that live, and we'll be updating you more on the progress as we get closer to beta going forward.
Hello, everyone. Let's talk upsells. So the big news, first of all, is upsells are available right now to all direct premium subscribers. So any booking that you get as a direct premium host will have the capability to offer upsells to the guest of that booking. Next, what have we been working on and releasing? One of the questions that we've gotten more often than not is, okay, how do I actually use this, right? And we've already mentioned that you can use Suggest with AI, which is already aware of your upsells that you've set up, and it will offer them in the message that it generates when it sees fit to. You can also copy the guest portal link and send that to the guest directly. The guest has a link to the guest portal in their confirmation emails, but still, beyond that, can we automate in some way? And yes, I'm going to talk about 2 ways in which we do this. One, you can, well, not you can. What's going to start happening now, as of today, is we have a new AI component that detects on all new conversation updates, whether that's a different status or a new message, whether there's an upsell opportunity right there and then for that guest. If yes, you as the host get notified. You'll get a push notification on your phone about the upsell opportunity. And by the time you get that push notification, an AI generated message will already be waiting for you in that guest conversation with the upsell written in already. So that's the first way of kind of automating the upsells. The second way is we have released a new smart code. We actually talked about smart codes several months back, but we had kind of a false start with them. And the way we approached them initially really wasn't adding much value that we hoped they would. So this is part 2 of our smart code release. And in this case, we have a new smart upsell. Smart code, it acts just like a short code that you would add to your messaging rules. But this is something that is generated on the fly by the AI if it sees that there is an opportunity to offer an upsell naturally in a friendly way to the guest at that point in time. So we encourage you to actually add the smart upsell smart code to all of your messaging rules, because it will intelligently understand kind of when to do this and when not to do this. It won't repeat itself if it doesn't need to. It will just kind of work. And if there's nothing to do, nothing will happen. That smart code part of the template will just be blank. To help with this, we've kind of added a few bits and pieces in the interface to guide you towards doing this. Like, for example, within the upsells setup in the guest experience, you'll actually see if you have any, for now you won't, which messaging rules you already have added the smart upsell smart code to, and the ability to very quickly from there click in to the appropriate button and go through to the messaging rules and add it if you haven't. So this is the really kind of automated way to upsell to your guests, because this will mean that any messages that go out via your messaging rules will have the ability to offer an upsell and a link in there to the guest portal. The guest will just click through and be able to make the purchase. So next, a few smaller changes. Configurations on early check-in and late checkout upsells. You now have the option whether or not to block the day before check-in if it's an early check-in upsell, or the day of checkout if it's an late checkout upsell, depending on what is comfortable for you. We're defaulting it to blocking the day because that, I think, makes most sense for the majority of hosts, but you do have the option. And the second configuration is how much notice you want to have before the guest purchases the upsell. So for example, if you need at least a day or say 2 days prep time, then you would just set that option in the upsell configuration, as in that screenshot. And that means that if there's less than 2 days remaining, for example, until check-in, they won't be able to purchase the early check-in upsell. So this kind of gives you more control over who can purchase what upsells when. Next, now that we're here and it's available to all direct premium bookings, we're going to be integrating upsells directly into the direct booking flow, which means guests would be able to preemptively purchase upsells where it makes sense, where calendar allows, and where you wouldn't lose out on the nightly rate revenue when the upsell purchase is made. The guest would be able to just add an upsell directly as part of their booking when checking out, which actually also means that this will be natively baked into payment terms if they want to spread out their payments over time. And then also, apart from that, we're going to be rolling this out to all OTAs, Airbnb, Vrbo, Booking.com, and Agoda, as well as Direct Basic. So that's on the roadmap for upsells. And then just the last thing to mention is, if you haven't yet started playing around with upsells, or you want to see what the guest portal experience for a guest looks like in terms of accessing these and purchasing them, we'll just leave this slide on for a few seconds. Use either that QR code or that link to get a preview. There are like 12 screens that you can easily click through to get a sense of what it's like to, one, as a host, set up upsells in Hospitable, and two, as a guest, to see them and go through with the purchase. Please keep sending us feedback. You can also book a call with me, or you can email me, nick@hospitable.com. We'd love your feedback on upsells, and we're really excited about releasing more and more updates on this front. That's it.
Cool. Thanks, Nick. Hello, everyone. Fantastic news. Our thermostats private pilot had launched today. emails have been sent to those of you involved, but we had a lot of interest and a lot of responses of people wanting to be involved here, which is great. Sadly, couldn't say yes to everyone, but if you haven't been emailed yet, do not despair. We will likely be inviting more of you to join in the coming weeks. And then, of course, the plan will be to roll this out to beta users once the pilot has ended. And just a quick reminder of what you'll be able to do. So you'll be able to connect and then manage your thermostats, temperature, and HVAC settings directly in Hospitable. And then you'll be able to set and manage your climate presets, so occupied, unoccupied, long-term unoccupied modes, which will automatically sync to your reservations, so you can maximize both guest comfort and energy savings, which is great. And then also you'll be able to set notifications to alert you if your thermostat goes outside of a set temperature range. And then many other cool things will also be involved. I'll provide more updates on further rollouts, timelines on moving to beta, so on and so forth, when we know more in the coming town halls. And that is all from me. Thank you.
All right. So for direct, to start, we have an exciting update. Reviews are now live for all Hospitable direct sites. And the great news is there's nothing for you to do to start getting reviews to show on your site. So they are already enabled for you. We are displaying 2 of your recent 5-star reviews from Airbnb. If you have multiple properties, you'll see reviews on your main site as well as on the individual property page. And as of this morning, actually, this is enabled for all templates. So everyone should be seeing these now. And our goal is, of course, here to help you build trust with your guests and your prospective guests. And so we'll continue to improve reviews with that goal in mind. So some of the things we're looking at doing is actually being able to link from the review to your Airbnb listing to legitimize the review as well as you as a host. We'll also be looking at displaying the property name and linking from a review to the property page. And our platform team's also working on making reviews available through our API. So if you have a custom site for your direct bookings, you'll be able to pull in your reviews using our API as well. So more to come here, and if you have any feedback, please let us know, but we're really excited. I think this is a nice improvement to direct sites. Also, quality of life update for you all. We now allow you to create a custom quote for a date that has been blocked, as long as that date does not already have another reservation. So previously, we would have shown a hard error and not allowed you to proceed if you're trying to create a custom quote and the date was blocked. Now we'll just show you a warning, and if you want to override the block, you can go ahead and create the custom quote. And then next, we have an update on our abandoned booking campaign that we announced in our last town hall. So this has been running for a little over 2 weeks now, and we've actually recovered over $50,000 in bookings. So we're really excited about that. We've sent around 1,500 emails to guests who have abandoned the booking flow, and almost 70% of those emails have been opened, which is pretty good. But only about 7.5% have clicked back into the booking flow from the email, and only about 1% of those have converted. So we definitely have some more work to do here to get that click rate up and the conversion rate up. And we'll be doing that by adding some additional variants of the email content that's getting sent out. We'll be doing things like emphasizing payment terms if that's available. So guests can only pay, X amount today to reserve their booking. And after that's in a good spot, we'll be looking at ways to give you a little more control over this with the goal of helping convert a guest even more by adding promo codes in the future. So more to come, but this has been a success so far. And next, update on rental agreements. I've already seen some questions in the chat around this. So happy to give an update. The team has been working on rental agreements for a bit now. At this point, we are focused on making rental agreements work really well for direct. And so the update that we've recently made is for direct premium. Guests will now be asked to sign the rental agreement immediately after they've completed guest verification. So they'll go right into signing the rental agreement. And then next up, we are going to be adding rental agreements into the inbox to give you visibility if a guest has or has not completed their rental agreement. And we'll also be adding support for all platforms, which would include the ability to actually restrict check-in or hold check-in instructions until the guest has completed the rental agreement, as well as sending automatic reminders to guests to get them to sign the rental agreement really after, almost as quickly as possible after that booking is confirmed. So don't have an ETA yet. I know there's been a lot of people that have asked about this, but we will surely have one at least by the next town hall, or if not sooner, on when rental agreements will be available for all platforms beyond direct. And then finally, in update or announcement rather for our Australian direct premium hosts. We are aware of the new short stay levy for Victoria State. And we are actively planning to be able to support that come January 1st. So for anyone who is not aware already, starting January 1st, 2025, a 7.5% tax will apply to all short-term rentals in Victoria State. And we are preparing to calculate and collect that tax for you for direct premium. We'll also be retaining the tax and remitting it as the booking platform. So we'll share, of course, more updates before the end of the year, but we just wanted everyone to know that we are aware this is happening and we are going to be good to go come January 1st. And that is it for direct.
Cool. Hey everybody, here today with some updates on owner statements and our Mogul plan specifically. But before talking about Mogul, I want to share some big news for owner statements. Previously, we made owner statements available only as a part of our Mogul plan. And if you wanted to try it out, you would have had to contact our customer success team and they would give you access in a limited capacity. And it was basically, we were just booking up our customer success team's calendars with people wanting access to owner statements. So we decided we're not going to make you wait. As of last night and this morning, we've made owner statements available on all plans for one property. So if you're curious, you can go ahead and try it out without having to wait for someone's calendar to open up to book a call with them. So that's super exciting. It's under operations, click operations, owner statements, and you can get onboarded for one property today. We've also shipped a couple of updates since the last town hall based on some of your feedback. First is if you're adding a transaction, we now better handle both expenses and credits. So an expense might look like you bought some toiletries for the property and you want the owner to pay you back for that. And a credit might be something like you owe the owner back for something and you want to have that represented on your statement appropriately. So you can add both of those expenses and credits as transactions to show on your owner statements. Next, we're allowing you to edit your commissions so long as that commission hasn't been used in a published statement. So before we were kind of locking this down because if a statement was published, we need to make sure that the data that's represented on that statement is locked because it's going to have implications when we are integrating with your accounting softwares and stuff. However, if you didn't have a published statement, we probably didn't need to lock that down. So we've kind of opened that back up and now you can edit commissions. This is really important for those of you who had tried owner statements a couple of months ago before our big update, because now our commissions can do a lot more. So you can go ahead and edit those to take advantage of some of those things. Next, you can preview the PDF before publishing. Before, the only way to see what it looked like on a PDF was to publish. Now you can preview that before publishing. And if you do ever need to unpublish a statement, you can do that with help from our support team. We're not allowing that in the UI just yet because, again, like I said, there will be implications what we do with that data. But if you do need to do that for any reason, you can reach out to support and they can help you out. Next, we are working on our accounting integrations. It's going really well. This is going to be available as a part of our Mogul plan, and we've started with QuickBooks, and more will soon follow. As a part of this accounting integration, you're going to be able to connect your QuickBooks account, map your accounts and classes, and we're going to be pushing reservation financials to your accounting software, abiding by industry best practices. We've been consulting with accountants who work specifically in this industry to ensure that you're all set up. So our goal is to have this out by the end of the year so that in 2025, you can have nice, clean books and be in a really, really good place for taxes in future seasons. So we plan to start our private pilot the week of December 9th. So many of you have already reached out expressing interest in that. So we'll be reaching out to some of you to get you involved in that private pilot with a goal to make it available to everyone on the Mogul plan by the end of the year, so you can be in a good place come January. And last but not least, we are starting to kind of define what our owner's portal is going to look like. This is also something that's going to be available as a part of the Mogul plan. There's a lot of places we could go with this, but an MVP might look like highlighting your company's brand, obviously sharing statements and invoices to your owners, allowing them to book their own stays, a place to maybe store your agreements with the owners, and more. So this QR code is going to direct you to the feature, which I would like for you to upvote because it only has 9 upvotes, and I don't think that's accurate. So if you want an owner's portal, please upvote that and also add comments with what it is you'd like to see this owner portal do. We'd love to hear your feedback before we really get started on that. All right, some updates from our platform team. In the apps section, there's now a connected apps page where you can see all the apps that you're currently connected to. This is kind of nice because now that we've had all of our vendors upgrade, we actually have insight into who you're connected to. And so we're showing that here. And soon we'll even allow you to disconnect from apps from this page if that's something you want to do, rather than going to that other app and starting the disconnect process from there. We've also shipped a slew of updates to the public API and webhooks since our last town hall. We have new data in the properties endpoint for those of you who are using our API for direct booking sites. So we're sharing property level fees, policies, markups, security deposits. And we're also allowing you to view and change check-in and check-out restrictions from the API. Now, this one is important to highlight because this is one thing that Price Labs can do that they haven't ever been able to do with Hospitable because we didn't make it possible via the API, and now we have. So we've already notified them that this is available, and they've said that they're working on being able to support that feature for those integrated with Hospitable. So we'll be excited to share that when they're done. Up next, as Abby mentioned, we're going to be exposing reviews in the API, creating property webhooks, and allowing you to disconnect apps from directly within Hospitable if need be. And a quick reminder, we announced this in our last town hall and have been communicating with those of you who use this as well, but we will be deprecating version 1 of our API and webhooks on February 3rd. So if you don't use our public API webhooks, you can ignore this, don't worry. But if you do, go ahead and scan that QR code. There's a really great migration guide that our team put together to walk you through what it is that you need to do to prepare for this deprecation and migrate to our new API. That's all I've got for today. Back to Miles to highlight some events.
Cool. Thank you very much, Emily. Yeah, so just a quick recap actually on what Andrew shared already. So we did have a Booking.com Q&A yesterday with their team joining us as well. So some updates there from what we're working on from a connectivity side, but also some updates on how they're growing as a platform and why, if you're not already considering listing on there, why you should be considering listing on there. So just again, that link there for anyone that missed that at the start of the presentation. And then finally from me, I'm just going to share the link for our next town hall. In fact, if you click this link, if you scan the QR code, you should be able to get all of our future town halls added to your calendar so you don't miss another event. That goes for all of you watching on replay. Attend us live next time and join us in the Q&A. Speaking of Q&A, we're going to move into that now. I'm just going to bring up a few links for anything that we might have missed. Useful if you want to go and upvote feature, contact support or invest in Hospitable. But we, like I say, are going to move on to our Q&A now. So if you do have a question for our team, if you'd like to go down to the React button at the bottom and click raise hand, that will allow us to know that you want to come on stage to ask your question. So we already have a hand raised. So William, you've had your hand raised for a while, so I'm going to invite you on stage to talk. Hello, William.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Thank you for having me on. My question is, I've asked this to Price Labs, and I wanted to ask it to you guys because Price Labs said they don't have it. Could we get flat rate pricing? I've seen it in Booking.com. I've used it in there, and I believe it's a great tool. I know we have the discount pricing where we can discount monthly and weekly, but in my area, I'm not sure if this will work in other areas, but you see a lot of people booking and holding um, space on your calendar, should I say, um, to shop around and talk to different hosts to try to get the best pricing because they're going to be there for a couple months or a few weeks, whether they're there for a refinery or a nursing job. And I think if I could just have that right away when they book, it's reflected exactly what my monthly pricing or weekly or biweekly pricing is at a flat rate. I could keep more of those bookings, should I say, without them shopping around.
Yeah, so that's not something we're managing right now. We kind of we're able to work with one rate policy right now with booking. But what we mentioned in those slides is that is one of the things that helps you optimize and obviously maximize your revenue on those channels. So as part of the improvements for booking, and that we would also do potentially for other OTA channels, is let you have like refundable, non-refundable rate policies, lets you have weekly and monthly pricing. Those are all things that are offered, but we are not integrated in just yet at this time. But that's nice to hear that context. Thank you.
Thank you.
Great. Thank you for the question and feedback, William. Okay, moving on now to Eric. Hello, Eric. Inviting you on stage.
Yeah, hey there. So I'm one of your customers who uses another PMS as the main booking engine. If I wanted to experiment with the direct premium, now that we have the kind of two sides of the aisle, would it be possible for me to experiment with a few listings, putting them on direct premium and trying that out as I get closer to being a one PMS operator that just makes sense when you say it out loud?
Yeah. So with the Airbnb account, only one PMS can be connected at a time. So it's not something where if all those listings are in one Airbnb account, we can't really run that experiment in that way. We can't have like partial listings. So you'd have to look at, I don't know, potentially having another Airbnb account if you wanted to run that kind of an experiment. If you just want to experiment on direct and you're not PMS connected, what those hosts that are in that situation need to do is use our property iCals to sync those bookings. But yeah, I don't know if there is an experiment in your current setup, unfortunately.
Okay, so even I guess Airbnb, could that be separated from that? If I'm trying to test out the direct, can I have an instance of one of my properties with a direct listing that
you can
happens to exist
you
in
could
the
still
same?
connect to Hospitable with your Airbnb account in what's called that ops scope, right? Where we're not managing your pricing and availability, and that would allow you to create the direct listings. And then you would need to take your property iCals, which is like exporting your direct calendar bookings into Airbnb, and you could add those links that you get from Hospitable in your Airbnb account or in your PMS, sorry, whichever one you're using. And that would allow you to sync those direct bookings from Hospitable into your PMS, which is your source of truth currently.
Yeah. Awesome. Thanks.
Okay. Thanks, Eric.
Thank you, Eric. Okay, now inviting Alexander on stage. Hello, Alexander.
Hi, can you guys hear me?
We can indeed.
About I think July or so, I think you guys switched up email providers, and I noticed something weird happening where I stopped getting notifications from your automated emails. And I thought it was really weird. So I went through Gmail thinking it was them, and I went through all the troubleshooting and everything. But then I changed my email address in Hospitable to test it out with a completely different email address, and the same thing was happening. And I was already working with your support team, and they were, super helpful and everything, but we weren't able to figure it out. And I just wanted to throw it out here to see if anyone else might have an idea about what might be happening, or if there was, an update. Right now, it's not a huge deal. I only have one property, but coming next year, I have a few more being added, and I was hoping to try to get it figured out.
Yeah, thanks, Alexander. So, we made a change to some of the way we send the emails. We didn't change the provider, but just kind of how we send them, the software that we use to kind of send those notifications out. Again, here isn't the best place to kind of debug this thoroughly, but if you can reach back out to support, I'll have the support team find you in the participant list and reach out. I'll get them to tag me and I'll jump in and see if I can debug anything there. We have some pretty we have some tools that can kind of help us out with that. There are some lists that end up if your email bounces a couple of times. So say your provider, Gmail, I wouldn't have thought so much, but say your provider has some issues there. We do kind of put you on like a gray list, right? Where we just kind of don't send those emails. So we can see if that's the case. But yeah, with you saying that you changed your email and it happened again, that's an interesting one as well. So I'll have the support team reach out and we'll see if we can debug this offline as well.
Thank you.
Cheers, Alexander.
Thank you, Sam, for jumping in, and thank you, Alexander, for your question. Moving on now to Robert. Inviting you on stage, Robert. Hello.
Yeah, good day, all. First of all, I just want to say, I'm really, really pleased with the additional features that, you folks are all building into Hospitable. Having been in software for 45 years, I know the challenges of doing some of that, but I do applaud you and the team. So I have a unique property management situation where I'm in Florida, and in some of the buildings, the owners will not allow me to advertise their properties on Airbnb or some other kind of, booking system. So I have to do everything manual through my company, which is fine. We've been doing it that way for 20 years. But as I move more and more of my dashboard capabilities into Hospitable, so I have a single pane of glass, it would be helpful to have a little flexibility when I do a manual booking. I did put this question into the Q&A, and Vera came back and said, that's a great idea. We're not planning to do it yet, but let's have you submit it as a suggestion, improvement, enhancement, and I will do that. But the gist of my request was simply, I try to capture additional data points when I do a manual booking, and like how many adults, how many children, special needs, bed configurations. And even if you don't put those in as fields, as defined fields in the manual booking, having some latitude to do user-defined fields would be helpful if it's possible down the road. So I just wanted to put that out there as an idea to the entire team and the other members that use Hospitable. Maybe it's something other property management companies could benefit from that also use Hospitable. So that's the ask. I'll put it into the feedback, hospitable.com, and we'll see if it takes any traction.
Cool. Yeah, thanks, Robert. I think that's the right thing to do, and we'll see if anyone else has some ideas. We've gotten some similar feedback on kind of related features, like people wanting custom fields that perhaps come with custom short codes. So that's something we've kind of been brainstorming on. And then there's the option that we're looking at for our newer kind of guest portal to kind of ask those questions from guests. So take the booking, say on direct or even on manual, and then have like your guest portal get sent out and ask them to kind of complete your survey. And those would be interesting because then we could capture them in a structured data field within the guest portal. And those could be used to maybe populate the rental agreement fields or to maybe send to you through like a Zapier integration. So there's something there. I don't have a lot of clarity on what we actually end up getting to, but that would be great if you could add that on feature base on the feedback for us.
Will do, Andrew, and thanks to Vera also. Take care.
Thank you, Robert.
Bye.
Thank you very much. Okay, we have a couple more hands raised. Becky, inviting you on stage now. Hello, Becky.
Hey guys, can you hear me?
We can indeed.
Awesome, cool. So for direct booking automated messages, how am I able to verify that the messages have been sent? Because I'm getting a lot of feedback saying that they're not coming across.
I can take that, Andrew. So you come off mute too. Yeah, I think, do you know if which messages are not going out to guests? Is that like their booking confirmation messages?
So far, I'm not getting any feedback that messages are going through. So I think they're all going through email, right? Is there an option to change it to text? I didn't see that.
Yeah, so right now all of our direct messages will go out through email. I think it's worth there's some messages that we send for you, and at this point there isn't a whole lot of visibility on your side on those messages, and that's something that we're taking a look at. But I would definitely reach out to support to take a look at why those messages aren't getting to your guests. There may be something going on with your messaging rules as well.
All right, thank you. Super excited about your guys' updates too.
Thanks.
Great. Thank you very much, Becky. Okay, we now have Emily inviting you on stage. Hello, Emily.
Yes, hi. Sorry, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Hi. So I'm also someone who's using another PMS and is integrating now into Hospitable. And I heard you saying about the Airbnb integration. I've kind of been playing with one listing as well to see while I'm doing the migration. But I was wondering when you if you could clarify about updating how that would affect the availability of the calendars. So would that mean that if I put I have, let's say, 3 Airbnb accounts or with different listings, and I want to migrate them into one, I don't want 10 Hospitable accounts. I just want one. And then let's say I have 2 of mine and my husband has 2 on his account. Would that still affect the end, the changes could that be changed easily?
Sure. Yeah, let me try and work that out. So you can connect multiple Airbnb accounts to a single Hospitable account, right? So I don't see anything in your setup that would require more than one Hospitable account. And you can create obviously unlimited users. So if your husband needs an account on your Hospitable account, that's possible. The specific considerations with this property management scope that we've talked about, this upgraded connection, is that it's an exclusive connection. And so if one of your Airbnb accounts is already connected to another PMS, then Hospitable would not be able to have the upgraded connection. We would have what we call the op scope connection, and we wouldn't be able to manage your availability until you disconnected from that other PMS and let us claim those listings. So it sounds like you have multiple Airbnb accounts, which would allow you to kind of run the experiment that the previous caller brought up. And you could test out our calendar to manage pricing and availability.
That's what I was thinking of doing as well. Okay. So you answered both my questions.
Cool. Yeah, no, it sounds like you have a great setup to do that.
To be clear, there are different, sorry to interrupt, but there are different things here. Everyone can connect as a property manager using another property management software under the op scope. In that case, the deal is simple. You're not going to be using Hospitable's calendar. And why would you? You probably went to the effort of configuring that calendar on that other property management software. And you've been trained. There were probably multiple calls telling you that from now on, you can only perform those changes from your property management software. So we respect that. In that case, we can read your calendar, but we're not going to be able to perform any changes on availability. And we decide not to do it as well when it comes to pricing under that ops, that operation management scope. In that case, we're like kindly deferring responsibility of your calendar to your property management software, and that's fine with us. The other part is that if you want to test out the calendar, then you can play along, different Airbnb accounts and find what works.
So I can still... Sorry, no.
So the only thing that basically would change if you get onto the property management software, then you get access to more features managed by Hospitable, such as your entire calendar, and more rules in relation with your availability or check-in, check-out, and other things that go in as extension to your calendar.
Perfect, thank you. I just had one more question. So if I'm using, let's say, another calendar for dynamic pricing, and that I have that, which you are connected to as well on your side, would that migration be complicated? Or I can still use that one, and then let's say have one Airbnb I don't have, and I use your dynamic pricing. But maybe it's getting a bit very intricate.
It's more simple than it is. It's simpler. The answer is probably simpler than the question. Yeah.
I agree with you, because like you said, anyone can connect, which is really great because it's one of the only platforms.
Yeah.
But I want it to be our main one. I don't want to use the other ones. So
Good.
it's good. Exactly.
You should have started by that, Emily. That's really
the best thing. I regret it.
So there is a work on onboarding. So probably Vera you can send an email to Vera to basically ensure that you get set up properly, and that's step number one. So we can dedicate more time to probe and answer your question. The second part is that when it comes to dynamic pricing and everything you are saying, that should basically go to your property management software of record from Airbnb's perspective. Those are the ones that will have the highest authority when it comes to managing all the bells and whistles. So that's your property management software. That property management software can be Hospitable. There is no challenge there, and I want to, because I'm mindful of your question, I also want to be mindful of all the people that are hearing it.
I agree.
This is totally fine. If you have Price Labs, there's no change. They are already connected with Hospitable. This migration just means we're doing better job. You can have more rules. There is more expansion on the product that's going to be expected. You don't have to change anything on your Price Labs account. But yeah, I'm not sure if I answered your question, though.
Yes, you did. Thank you so much. Thank
Probably.
you.
I don't know which part answered your question, but I hope that something went through and somebody grabbed something. So that's already better than usual. Thank you. Thank you very much, Emily. And we hope you've been able to help you a bit better.
Thank you very much. Okay, I think we maybe have time for one more question. Samantha, inviting you on stage. Hello.
Hello, Samantha.
Hello, can y'all hear me?
Perfectly.
You can indeed.
Yay! I'm really excited. I haven't been on a town hall in a while, but I've been with you guys for about 2 years. All of the changes are so helpful, so smart, so everything. So congrats to everybody. And I think I have a really kind of simple question. So if we can't update the pricing, or like no longer using smart pricing in Airbnb, does it work the same for calendar blocking? Are we only going to calendar block like certain dates in Hospitable? Like, will it carry over if I do it in Airbnb?
Andrew, you want to deliver the bad news?
You can handle that if you want, Pierre.
No. So I'm going to do it then.
Yeah, go for it. You got
to
this.
Understand in terms of first principle base rules, as a property management software, we are the one on the hook from Airbnb for your calendar. Airbnb checks us. We are sending data to Airbnb, but Airbnb checks us too. So everything that's in relation with the calendar is basically you have to go to us. And that means we can then have a greater authority to push and make sure to push pricing, rules, etc., and make sure you're not at risk of double booking because we have your bookings from other channels, for example. So that basically is kind of the foundation of it all. As you lose smart pricing, which I'm not sure is really that much of a feature being lost. It's very clearly understood from Airbnb side as well. Smart pricing is a fantastic feature for Airbnb. It motivates guests to be returning back to Airbnb. Yes, they have not yet signed an NDA to basically not disclose that. But that really is your opportunity to really set up a pricing software that charges you and want to make sure that they're on a mission to make you more money. So I recommend that you use a third-party pricing software. There is a plethora that are available for connection with our integration that basically will do the work for you, not for the platform that is taking 15-18% of a service fee out of your pocket. So that's basically what I would recommend to get set up.
Okay, great. Thank you.
And Price Labs is used by, I don't know what the percentage now.
60%,
I
I
use-
heard.
Yeah.
That's the leading one by far, I think, across our customer base. So everything going well for them.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you very
Samantha.
much. Okay, I think unfortunately we are at time today, so I think we'll have to call it there.
Guys, can you realize that we went through all of those in 40 minutes on our side, and we still were able to do 20 minutes of Q&A? That's quite an achievement. So it's going to be very difficult for me to do a recap, but yeah, we have a new onboarding team. We have new engineers. That means new feature updates and new products that we're going to be launching. Typically, you can expect something really monumental happening 6 months from now. Think about, for example, in the past, the first project of an engineer was, let's do parent-child listings. And that was really a first project for an engineer. And that only took, I think, 3 months to basically get it sorted, but that was really massive in terms of work. So we keep on investing on R&D, on features, on product expansion. That's not also at the expense of the product that's currently being built and making sure that it's resilient. The things that you hear us talking about a PMS update, that's what it's about. That's really about building a product that's going to be more reliable in its integration with integration partners, software partners like Airbnb. We're going to be able to do the same now with Booking.com and expanding the scope of integration and launching Agoda as well, which is now out of private pilot. So there's a very tiny fraction of people that are actually getting to work on new features. Nick is one of those working on Upsells, going to be joining with Tinkara so we can do more work across AI and helping you get set up on your Hospitable account and make sure you make more money on your channels for your business. We have a private pilot now for thermostat. That's also helping you save money and helping you not lose money if basically you have a customer frustrated about the place not being warm enough or something like that for the season. Plenty of updates. What I'm particularly happy about is reviews. That helps you market your property a bit better. That's what would be called an MVP. It gets the data out there. This is version 0.1. It's an engineer that literally worked that because he was bored of talking about taxes, of hearing about taxes all day long. And so basically wanted to have a fresh project. So it's only going to be growing in complexity from there. But I think it's good to have it out. Mogul. Everyone can have a property on Mogul generating an owner statement across all plans, so you can see what's happening. That's very important to us because owner statement is one of the features we're communicating against for years. It's going to take a lot of time for the market to basically no, Hospitable can do owner statements, and I hope we're really going to be able to knock it out of the park with the engineering team that we're going to have working on it. So that's it with 3 minutes. Thank you so very much. Have a fantastic evening from Brussels and all over the world. Yeah, see you tuned for the next town hall 2 weeks from now. Do we have one 2 weeks from now? That's on the eve of Thanksgiving or something like that for some Americans. I get to be toxic for 1 second. Have a great night. Have a good time. Bye bye.